So this is a bit early. This is earlier than planned, so we're not going to do any discussion right now. I need to make sure my sound is working. Actually, I do need to make sure that my default for the audio is going to always be speaker 2, I guess. That one can stay as is. I think I need to change that in the settings. It randomly changes to what's it called? For some reason it randomly changes so that my output is just gonna. Okay, so wait, it is. My output is the fucking thing. Why does it keep defaulting to my microphone on Discord then? I don't get it. Like, why would you think that I would want my speaker to be Windows default? Okay, so that's the issue. I guess I'll figure that out later. Okay, so I guess since this is mostly for the YouTube VOD, but I guess I want to give like a little disclaimer, okay? I am not really that researched within the IDV lore. I've watched a lot of the events, I read like the letters, but for one, I don't really have a very good memory, so there is a chance I'll misremember things and misspeak, okay? And I am very open to different interpretations of IDV, okay? Like, of course, there's gonna be some things I argue with, and there's gonna be some things I strongly disagree with. But for the most part, I do believe that everyone is, like, valid with the conclusions they reach within the story. And as long as you have reasonings for it and you want to, like, discuss it with us, then that is fine, okay? We are open to discussion if you think something we say is wrong, as long as, you know, you say, like, as long as you don't bash us for it, right? We'll be willing to listen to you. But yeah, I don't remember. I had like a whole little thing I was gonna say. I feel like there was more I was supposed to say, but I don't remember all of it. Main point is this is a discussion. We're here to listen. All that stuff. Okay. We just want to have fun and, you know, try to understand the game a little bit more because it's a bit confusing. Now, moving on from that, we should try to probably figure out how to do the research part of the lore. So I did have a bit of a plan. Unfortunately, I didn't write down that bit of a plan, so this is gonna okay, so I think for the most parts, the very obvious things is I think we should look at the deductions first. So for all the characters within the games, we should read their deductions and sort of just take note of them and figure out what exactly it is trying to say and what it all means. And then afterwards, we should look at the character letters, birthday letters. I mean, it's not always their birthdays, but you get what I mean, right? And then I guess after that, this is gonna be the more fun part. I say that in quotation marks, but it is probably going to be combing through all the events and figuring out like how the events correlate with the characters. Okay, actually wait, probably something easier. Maybe the items, portraits, costumes. I guess okay. I guess they're exclusive accessory. They're costumes. Customs, sure. Yeah, that's how you spell it. Okay. Like portraits, frames, whatever has descriptions, literally everything. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else I'm missing? Okay, so there's that. You know, it's gonna be really funny if it turns out that Emil made a post on Twitter back in 2021, and I'm not gonna find that because it was in the fandom in 2021. So we're gonna like if there's anything on social medias, that's not my problem. And then afterwards, we debate the events. Because how canon is the Valentine Day event, you know? I feel like for those, like, events where it's just the characters as themselves hanging out with you and talking to you, those are more easy to connect to the canon, because it's mostly, what is it called? They're canon personalities. But, like, they're in a different setting. Like, maybe we don't get an accurate depiction of the game and what happened, like, the events that happened within the actual main story. But we do still get to know more about their character as, like, people. And theoretically, their backstory doesn't change that much, and we get an insight into that as well, you know? But then there's things like truth and inference, where it's like, okay, maybe their personality's the same, but they're also, like, completely different people. And also, nothing that happened within the story is the same thing that happens within our story, because it's, like, a whole different story, you know? So, yeah, and there's going to be other stories like that. For example, the Essence stories. They are, like, the characters and the costumes, they are different characters, you know? Tracing, what the fuck, that's truth and inference. God damn it. Spirit of the Lake and Emil, they may have similar somethings, but they are not the same characters, you know? Maybe they have similar personalities. Maybe they have a similar theme going on, similar character arc or something. A similar purpose within their stories, but otherwise they're not the same characters at all. So those are things we should probably, I guess, debate. Anyways, I think that's a good enough preamble. So that's basically what we're gonna try to do in that order. Okay, we're gonna look at their deductions. We're gonna look at their birthday letters. We're going to look at their accessories, costumes, portraits, frames, and whatever other items they could potentially have. And then we debate the events, like truth and inference, their essence, and yeah, events, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. So that's the plan. Also, I guess second reminder, play nice. I'll fully admit, okay? I do think I am stupid and I don't really know what's going on, and I'll probably mess up a lot. So I am very, very open to corrections and other people debating things with me and telling me if I'm wrong, okay? So as long as you are nice in the chat, we will not have any issues. I just want to make that clear. We're open to learning, and we're open to discussions and figuring things out as we go. But don't be an asshole in the chat. That's all I ask. Learning and discussion. No arguments. No arguments. Okay, I am in the Discord channel. I'm gonna, I guess, it's a bit early. It's like 15 minutes ahead of schedule. I should have it at, what's it called? I was gonna have it at 5 p.m. But I wanted to make sure I started it a little bit early, just in case anything happens. Because there have been several times where I, like, start up the stream, then I open up my VTuber model because I'm like, oh shit, I forgot my VTuber model. And then, it turns out my VTuber model is, what's it called? It won't open. And it turns out I need to go into Steam, like, verify my files, and then it's gonna be like, oh, your files weren't working, but we verified it now, and then I'm gonna do it again just to make sure they actually did it, and then I can open it up. And that doesn't even take that long, but you know, it's one time I had that happen and I didn't know how to do it, so it took me like 10 minutes to be like, okay guys, we can start stream now. I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, VTuber model is working. Hopefully the stream is working. Hopefully the audio is working. I actually haven't checked the audio yet. I'm assuming it's working because all the settings are working and my mic is showing that it's working. Also, I do need to check the moment like hats show up if the Discord audio is working, because I have it at max, but I'm not sure if it's gonna like work, you know? So I guess that counts as a that probably counts as part of the preamble. Making sure there's nothing else I'm missing. I don't want it to be like I don't know, 5 minutes to the actual discussion part, or like 10 minutes, and then I'm like, wait, shit, I forgot to do something else, and then I have to stop. Okay, I'm trying to look. What else do I? Okay. What's this? Oh, it's a random piece of foil. I'm just gonna put that up here. I should probably just throw that away. Shit, that was from the last stream. That got deleted. Wait. Okay, I'm gonna add Hats and get her to join, and then I need to check the audio on my laptop and make sure it works. That kind of reminds me. With IDV, I don't really... I have mixed feelings, because it's like, I had a lot of plans for this season, and the season's kind of almost over. We're starting up on the 3rd essence now, and, well, what was, like, we're starting on the 3rd essence, Mime Artist is getting released, and that's pretty much, like, the season's pretty much over. But, like, there is a part of me that's thinking, do I want to come back into the game, right? Like, I wanted to do, like, a Survivor season, and I wanted to get back into, like, my A badge for Emil. But also... I wanted to try to reach Alicorn at some point, because I had several friends reach Alicorn, and I don't know, seeing that happen and me just being stuck in Griffin kind of makes me sad, especially since I feel like I could reach it, not because I'm like particularly good or anything, just because I'm more determined. I'm not determined, but more so with enough time, I feel like I can get there. Because, like, to some degree, I don't think, what happened? Oh. Because, to some degree, I don't think, I'm particularly, I shall be there in a few minutes. Alright, alright. I don't think I'm particularly worse than them or anything, right? Like, I feel like at least with one of my friends, maybe, or we're at I think we're at like similar skill levels. So I feel like we can, I don't know, we can get to, like, if they were able to get there, then I would be able to get there as well. So that was one of my goals. I wanted to both get to Alicorn. I wanted to rank up with my character that I haven't, like, that I lost my A badge to a long time ago. I wanted to, but that. But you know, that it's not gonna really happen. I have been thinking though, maybe I'll go back to IDV anyways at some point. But I don't really know. The big issue is IDV never fixed their AI issue, and from what I could tell, they haven't done anything since the initial backlash. And with new laws being released, I think that's not really going to be an issue anymore, or I don't know, at least not as big of an issue. So I have been debating if, like, things are quiet enough, maybe I'll go back, like, even if there's no statement release, because I do miss the game and the characters and, like, I don't know, like, the story, the community. Well, I'm not sure about the community. Maybe not the community. Well, mostly my friends. I miss hanging out with my friends. That's a big thing. I like the goals, but also kind of just I miss my friends. So, I miss the characters. I miss the game. So I was thinking maybe I'll go back to ranking at some point. We'll see about that. We'll see about that. But for now, we're going to do the lore stream. Yay!
Hello.
Welcome to stream.
Oh, okay, yeah, I am quiet over there. I'm here a little bit.
Hang on, I'm gonna try to listen to the... It would be quite sad if the Discord application thing did not work on the OBS. Hang on. I just want to make sure it's at least better than the last stream. Alright, I don't know.
Let's hope it works. Okay, that's a little louder.
Yeah, I think I still overpower you by a lot. I might have to turn up my desktop audio then.
Let me just double check which mic is Discord using. Yeah, it's using the right one. Hold on, let me see if I can mess with some settings on my end. How's that work?
Hang on. I'm gonna need to remember that my usual thing for this is going to be I guess where do I write that? I guess I'll send it to you. Hang on. Negative 15.3. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, other me. I appreciate you. Okay. I'm going to turn up the audio. Oh, I locked it. What the fuck?
Custom. Because I still wanted to pick up the laugh and everything now and then.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
there I am!
Can you hear yourself?
Yeah, I heard myself.
Alright. That does mean that, interestingly enough, Alios doesn't have that big of an issue. Because when I listened to, what's the word? Our stream together, it was, like, we didn't have any issues or anything like that.
Discord just doesn't like me.
Yeah, it'd be like that. I do...
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here, I am alive, I can be heard.
Yay! Alright, so first things first, what do you know about the game's story and the lore?
Do you want the quick, funny answer? Or do you want the actual one?
The actual one? I mean, that is the point of the stream, you know, discussing the lore.
You fool, they're both the same answer.
Alright, get started then.
Game 0. Man decides, you know what sounds great? Let's have a game where people start killing each other. And let's also drug them at the same time. And of course, it goes horribly wrong, because what did he expect?
I guess results.
Even shorter answer, man is horrified by consequences of his own actions. As he watches more people kill each other.
I feel like that's... I don't feel like that really applies until game 3. I feel like game 3 was when he was like, what the fuck, guys?
Then again, that's because game 3 was game 3.
Yeah. So... I guess first things first, game 0... Like, of course, it's like the first ever game to be created by Orpheus, but it's also the control game, or the control group.
Anyone who's ever done any sort of science knows with the control group, you're not supposed to put any extra variables in, like the drugs and all that.
Yeah. Which, actually, I guess that makes it... I guess that's what we should question. What exactly is he testing for this to be the control group?
Exactly, because, again, if this was a proper control group, he would not be putting in any variables at all. He would just be sticking them in the mansion, see what they do, and then deal with the results of that.
I mean, the whole point of the drugs and the games was to see if he can alter memories to some degree, right? Because he wanted to help Alice forget her past traumas or something like that. Theoretically, I don't really know.
Theoretically, we don't have anything really confirmed yet. We also have to keep in mind Orpheus is an incredibly unreliable narrator.
Yeah.
Which is what I do love about IDV lore. Everybody is an unreliable narrator. If you want to find out what happened, you have to piece together from everybody's accounts.
I haven't gotten any kind of answer for why they are the control group and what exactly is what this one was supposed to test. But I do think, at the very least, yeah, I feel like this one was more so about, like, disabilities. Emil having his amnesia and, like, his mental disorders, but also, I think...
A combination of mental and physical ones.
Yeah, he does have physical ones from him being forced into like the dogfighting rings. And then we have like Helena, who's blind, and how that affects her life, and then Galatea with her dwarfism, and then we have Ada, who's a psychologist and a doctor. So, like, a big thing with this story, I feel like, with like Helena and Galatea, their stories talk about ableism, and while Emil's story doesn't directly touch on it, I feel like
it's still there because that's just the nature of existing as a disabled person. Someone's ableism is gonna pop up at some point.
Yes.
Speaking from experience.
Yeah. I think to some degree, the ableism that the characters experience influence how the game went. For example, Helena choosing to trust Galatea over Ada was potentially because she saw Ada as more abusive because she's a doctor and like she might be scared that the way Ada is treating Emil is similar to how her tutor Sullivan treated her before, you know?
Exactly, and there's sorry, starting to choke on air there for a moment. And I completely lost my train of thought. Get back here. I was going somewhere. Get back here.
You got this.
But yeah, the distrust of doctors, seeing the similarities to that, but also, you don't, again, I hate saying this while we're talking about poor Helena here. Even the blind can tell that there is some serious codependent shit going on with Ada and Emil.
Oh my god, just like me, for real, for real.
Even she can see it.
This is actually something that some people have talked about, which is if Helena herself is somewhat ableist, mostly towards Galatea rather than like Emil though, because she does somewhat infantilize Gala for her being disabled and want to she's like, oh, I want to go out of my way to protect Galatea because we're both like in a similar boat or something like that. But I don't know, like that, at least that's what I remember from the discussion, but at the same time I also kind of understand like you meet someone who's like, oh my god, you're just like me, and like you guys are both like a minority of some sort, that you feel like the need to like defend them a little bit more because
the
you
need
know
to
what's
band
like...
together, yes. And there's also the side effect of part of that is also, I feel on Helena's part, is also a slight bit of the internalized ableism, which again is not uncommon in disabled folks. Is that feeling of seeing someone whose condition might be similar or different to yours, but still disabling, feeling like, oh, I need to, you know, they're more helpless than I am, so I need to do more for them. Hi, Sam. I see you in chat.
Okay, so I guess let's talk about the individual characters. What do you know about let's start with, okay, so I think for the event, more likely than not, Helena is going to be the main character or the focus character. So what do we know about Helena? Or like, I guess, what do you know?
I know she was. I know she's based off of Helen Keller. You know, very, very famous disabled person. A lot of people love propping up. I will not go into a deep dive here on her right now, because good gods, we do not have time for that. Now, Helena is just blind. She's just blind. Based on some of what she has written, she might have like the tiniest bit of like being able to see like vague shapes, but that's about it. Again, this is just going off of some of the writings from like some events and stuff. It could be a bad translation, it could be wrong, but she is still by all means legally blind. Her tutor / mentor was trying to take advantage of her to use her as a feel-good story by pretending she was also deaf and trying to, you know, get more fame and fortune by saying, oh, look, I'm helping prop this poor disabled cripple, you know, finally make it through the world, you know, take pity upon me, and, you know, I'm so amazing. Which, again, is also not an uncommon thing to fucking happen when you're disabled.
Yeah, that's kind of I don't know if I mentioned this before, but it's one of the big reasons why I do not like Helena's lore, because I do not like the fact that it's kind of like it's taking a real person like Helen Keller and somewhat perverting the story. I don't like how it's like...
Oh, it's not perverting the story. There were some people who were trying to do that with Helen Keller.
No. I mean, the whole she's not actually deaf and she's kind of like faking it part.
Well, like I said, she's based. They're not making a one-to-one recreation of the person.
Yeah, but there's a couple things I didn't like about the story. Biggest thing though was probably the fact that they made Sullivan to be pretty like abusive to Helena. Especially considering the fact that like the real life Helen Keller and Sullivan, they had a really close friendship that lasted all the way until both of them died. They were like always with each other and they cared for each other a lot. So it felt, I don't know, it felt disrespectful to the real Helen Keller and the real Sullivan, especially the real Sullivan, to make her out to be this abusive person who, what's it called? Use Helena for her own gains and stuff like that. No, there's no petting the magical talking hamster. I don't have any kind of redeems like that, unfortunately.
Yep, I can't remember how to set them up. But yeah, back to the thing. But also got to keep in mind the time period this takes place in late 1800s, early 1900s. Disabled people really were fucking treated terribly around that time. Hell, the USA had what was called the ugly laws until the 1970s. Which was basically disabled people or people who were viewed as undesirable could not be seen out in public.
Huh.
But not opening that can of worms. But also gotta keep in mind, people like Sullivan were very much more common during that time.
Yeah, but Sullivan was also a real life person, and from what I know, real life Sullivan wasn't like that. What I would have wanted at the very least was for them to change her name to something else.
Yeah, they could have changed the name. They really should have changed the name.
Yeah, like Helena Adams and Helen Keller are not the same people. They're
not the same people. There's inspiration, but they're not the same people.
Yeah, there's a lot of characters in IDV who are inspired by people in real life, like
Jack.
yeah. This is kind of funny. I remember me and Alios, we discussed it a little bit yesterday in the unarchived stream. Unfortunately, that got deleted, so we'll never know what was said there.
We will never know unless someone else recorded it.
Oh God, I hope not. I was shit talking people from Twitter. I'll get canceled.
Twitter. Of course you're gonna shit talk them.
Yeah.
Twitter is a hellhole.
It is. It sucks. But anyways, we're not gonna talk about that. I think I mentioned that IDV had made Jack the Ripper to be somewhat of a gentlemanly character, and also to have dissociative identity disorder, and it's this evil alter that got everyone killed. But otherwise, he's actually a nice, kind, gentle person.
Yeah, you don't know what real-life Jack the Ripper actually had to do to get his crimes actually noticed? He had to write to the police on a newspaper. The police and the newspapers did not care until he started yelling at them.
Yeah, unfortunately, he decided to,
He went after people that were already getting ignored and the general public did not care about.
Yeah, he killed sex workers and women, but the sex worker thing was the big part, and people just didn't care if they died. He
was killing sex workers in an area that already had an incredibly high crime rate of stuff like that happening.
Yeah. And then they made Jack into a more kind, gentlemanly character in IDV.
They made him into a Tumblr sexy man.
Woohoo! I love sexy men.
Oh gods, please don't make me explain what a Tumblr sexy man is on stream. Don't do this to me.
It's okay. I may not understand, but that's irrelevant to the topic of the stream, therefore we can skip it.
All I will tell you is Bill Cipher. Please tell me that tells you all you need to know. Oh gods.
You know, I guess whether or not Helena's lore, I still stand by. I do not like them making sort of being too close to the actual Helen Keller's lore of story life, and then kind of not making it more mean, I guess. Like if they were going to have an abusive tutor or someone who like took control of her life, it should not
At
have been
least change
Sullivan.
the name.
It should not have been Sullivan. I feel like having certain things be changed up is fine. I like if they wanted to have her tutor take advantage of her and use her for like fame and then make her look make Helena look worse, so therefore, oh, look at me, I'm a better tutor, like I'm an amazing tutor, like look at my accomplishments. I feel like that's fine. I don't feel like that was anything too bad. But I do strongly wish they didn't use Sullivan's name. And I have mixed feelings about them denying the fact that she's deaf as well for the story, because there are people in real life who somewhat make theories about whether or not she was lying and faking it and sort of denying her disability, and it kind of feels like that. But at the same time, with I feel like with her being a historical figure, you know what? You can make fan fiction. I don't care. It's a bit weird, and I kind of like
a little weird, but not a crime.
Yeah, it's like I raise an eyebrow, but there's worse that could happen, you know.
I mean, look at the Hamilton fandom. They are technically making historical fan fiction. It's again a little weird, but not a crime.
Yeah. At the end of the day, these people are all dead. They're gone, and there's not really people who are like personally connected anymore. So if you want to make a story based on these kind of things or somewhat similar, then you know, you just you can do that. Alright, let's move on to Galatea now.
Yes, Galatea, who has done many things wrong, but you know what? I support women's rights and women's wrongs.
You know, actually, I'll start off this little section by saying, Galatea is 100% manipulative and smart, and you know, actually, I guess that's kind of just the main thing. She's both manipulative and smart. She knew how each of the players worked, I guess. And she was able to work, like, sort of push people into doing things in a way to get the results she wanted. She was able to quickly gain Helena's trust, and she somewhat, like, I kind of mentioned that Helena was sort of being a tad bit, like, more infantilizing towards her, and I think Galatea knew that, and she was sort of pushing for that, so Helena would protect her and side with her during all like conflicts. And she also knew how to like stress out and push Ada's buttons in order to eventually get the results where Emil died and stuff like that.
Exactly. Galatea is smart. She is highly intelligent. Which is something that I did love that they made her be. A lot of the times whenever this type of game makes a wheelchair-bound character, they tend to focus solely on just the chair. So showing that she's more than just the chair, that she is not only, sculpting, but she is also very much of actually having some form of is actually intelligent, that she is smart. She knows what she's doing. That was nice.
Oh, did you see the trailer for the game Zero game?
Yes, I have. Yes, I know she's walking. Not everyone who uses a wheelchair is constantly stuck in it.
No, I think it's so she's not wheelchair bound in Game 0. That's the thing. Because there was a bit of a timeline thing that Galatea fans were discussing for a long while, but there were a lot of people who suspected that Galatea would only lost her mobility in her, I think it was her right side. Fun fact, I actually can't tell the difference between right and left a lot of times. But anyways, that's not important. She lost mobility in the right side of her body, and that was from an incident where her father threw out the statues that she was working on, and she jumped out after it to try to save it. And then she got sent to the asylum, and whether or not that happened before Game 0 or after was, like, contested. But with the trailer, people pretty much were like, okay, so it had to have happened afterwards. And Galatea does return to the manor. She does actively choose to return to the manor as well. And also, her time in the asylum was when she met Lily, or cheerleader. So it's also possible that she helped convince Lily to go to the manor as well.
Let's just hope this is not another Lucky Guy situation where we're struggling to figure out where the hell she fits on a timeline.
I think at this point it's very clear. It was contested before, but that was like one of the only details that was contested. At this point, it's pretty clear how the timeline flows, which is she was, she got into sculpting. She has very strong body image issues because of how much she was infantilized and like treated as a child and not treated as like a serious woman or adult. She meets Orpheus, and Orpheus does treat her like an adult, respects her and her intelligence, and that's why she started helping him and working with him. And then once they got to Game 0, a little bit before Game 0, she makes the statues that we see in the manor, and then, like, as Game 0 progresses, she also is still working on them, but she kind of comes there to, like, look for muses for her statues. And it's kind of hinted that she takes the corpses of the people that died and uses them to make the statues. But then afterwards, she's one of the only people to survive the manor game for, like, Game 0. We don't know if Helena survives. It's a bit of a mixed bag with that one. But she does. Galatea 100% survives. She makes it out, and then the whole thing with her father, he throws out the statue, she jumps after it, and then she gets sent to the asylum. Then whatever game happens with cheerleader is probably the game that Galatea will return in, and we don't know which one that is, I think.
Where do you fit, Lily? Where do you go? Where am I sticking you? Where are you going on the clue board?
You know what? For fun, let's throw her in Game 3.
There is enough going on in Game 3.
Game 3, E. We need more Game 3s.
Game 3s do we need?
Let's go all the way to Z.
No, we don't need that many. Orpheus, what the fuck kind of experiment is this?
You see, Game 3 was just such a failure that we just had to repeat it. How many letters are in the alphabet?
Over and over again.
All the way to
Most of
SQ.
the time it's not even Orpheus intervening. It just happens.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so
that number's cursed.
Truly it is. But at the same time, you know, a 3 is my favorite number, so it works out for me. I love 3s.
So many 3s.
But yeah, so that's a bit of the timeline for, what's it called? Galatea's life. But from what we know, Game 0, she will not be wheelchair bound at all. And and the main issue with her is going to be mostly focused on her dwarfism. Which it also is something that kind of lines up with her actual lore. Like, while her being in a wheelchair is, like, you know, important details still. In her, I guess, in her lore, it doesn't get mentioned a lot. Like, her dwarfism is the main focus for her. Like, that's where she faces her, like, that, like, her dwarfism is the reason for her self-image issues, why she reacts so negatively to, like, people treating her the way she's treated. Like, she hates being treated like an adult, and that's why she admires people like Ada, because she wants to be seen as a more mature, beautiful woman, and stuff like that.
Which is something a lot of people with dwarfism do struggle with. A lot of people usually instantly assume small equals child, which short adults exist, adults with dwarfism exist.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm 5'3", and there are still people who assume I'm like 16. I'm gonna be turning 27 in like, let me do the math here real quick. Yeah, in about 2 weeks.
Oh my god, you're taller than me! Alright, I need to borrow your kneecaps. We can't have that on here.
You could borrow my fucked up spine. Take it or leave it.
You know what, that works, as long as we decrease your height. There's a new rule on this channel. If you're taller than me, you gotta go. Mm-hmm.
Look, again, only option. You take my fucked up spine and you keep it.
I'll use it for decor. And then I'll
No,
give it
I
back.
mean as in you replace your own spine with it.
What? That defeats the purpose.
You'll be taller. You'll just have incredibly horrific back pain.
Let me debate this.
You must choose wisely.
You know what? It's okay. I have back pain as well. What? How much worse can it get, you know? I have
periods where I can't fucking move.
Oh my. That is worse. Well, I guess constant back pain increasing to constant back pain. You know what? You can keep your height.
Thank you. I am average height. I shall not be smaller than this.
Alright. Anyways, we'll move on from Gala. I mean, unless there's anything else you want to say. Is there anything else you want to say?
I really don't have much else to add on her. I've already said my piece.
Alright, so moving on, Ada and Emil, the most controversial couple of the 19
We don't fucking know.
19-somethings.
Each time we think we finally figure out the years this stuff takes place in, Joker Studio throws us a curveball and we gotta scramble to figure it out again.
They exist at a time period. That's all we know.
We know around, like, the possible range. We just don't have the exact years.
You know what? Who needs numbers? I hate numbers, personally.
I need numbers, because where are we sticking Lucky Guy?
Yui can stick...
This man should not exist! Do we have a time traveler?
Technically, he's a deduction substitute, and he doesn't need to exist.
How does Orpheus know about modern jeans and sneakers?
Maybe we misinterpreted the story. We thought he was in his 30s when time of reunion happens. Maybe that was all wrong. He's actually in his late 50s and close to his 60s, you know? Now we're in 1980. Yeah.
That style of sneakers is from the 90s. This man should be in his grave.
You know what? Let's not think about it.
We're thinking about it! He's there!
This is Game 0! Lucky Guy's not in Game 0. Lucky Guy isn't in any game.
For all we know.
Alright, Ada and Emil. So, to start off with, I will defend their relationship, and I will say that I like their relationship. But I also will acknowledge that yes, they are very, there's a huge power imbalance. Emil has no real identity, no legal documentations of any kind. More likely than not, well actually, this is in the early 1900s, maybe this is a bit different, so maybe he can skirt by with under the table jobs, but he can't read. He doesn't really know how to socialize with people. He has no legal documentations to prove he even exists, and he has to rely very heavily on Ada. So that is something to keep in mind. He is in the story, he is much more dependent on Ada than really Ada is dependent on him. But that's not to say that Ada doesn't rely on him for certain things. We'll get into that in a little bit. It's a bit of a I guess uncomfortable power imbalance, and also something that a lot of people will point out is that they are also pretty codependent on each other. If let's say Ada's not around, it doesn't seem like Emil would want to even continue living anymore. And from what we could tell,
and Ada does not do well without Emil around.
Yeah, from what we can tell from Game 0, Ada kind of just quote-unquote disappear after Emil dies, and we don't really get any information onto that, but it's somewhat hinted that it's possible she died from heartbreak, or she just straight up ended herself.
To quote Reddit Am I the Asshole, everyone sucks here, you're both codependent, you're perfect for each other, never change, just don't involve anyone else in what you've got going on.
Now, I will admit that I don't know 100% how their relationship is. So I am biased. So if there are more issues with one or the other, then, you know, I don't have full knowledge of that. I do know, like, Ada does have a bit of paranoia issues or anxiety issues, but that I don't, like, from what I could tell, it isn't that strong. Like, a lot of people, they'll kind of say things like, like, when criticizing Ada, they'll say, like, oh, she's abusive, she's, like, using Emil, she has, like, all the power, all the chips in the relationship, she can do whatever she wants with Emil, so that inherently she is, like, abusive to him. And, like, or, like, no, maybe not abusive, I think the proper word is she's grooming him. And I will say this is not a grooming. So I wouldn't exactly call this like a full-on actual grooming situation. There are some of the vibes here, but I wouldn't quite go that far. I will say, I strongly disagree with that assessment. Ada has shown time and time again that the main concern for her is that she wants Emil to get better. Like, of course, there is a bit of selfishness in what she's doing. She does want to use Emil as a way to validate her medical research and to prove that she, like, I guess, found a new avenue for medicine, that hypnotherapy is a legitimate study for medicine, and that she's not crazy or something like that. And also as a way to move away from her father and find her own path within medicine.
But also still get Emil the help he very much clearly needs.
Yeah.
I do like that. Now, let me say this. Exploring these dynamics in fiction is fine. That's what fiction is for. These characters are not real people. They are narrative devices. We do not need to treat the fictional characters like real people, and the real people like the fictional characters.
Yeah. Oh my god, Alios has been a moderator for 6 months. Congratulations!
6 months!
Is he here? I don't even think he's here. It's just celebrating it in the chat. Anyways, I am here, yeah. Oh, it didn't show. Welcome to the chat! Welcome to the stream. We're discussing. If you want to join the call, you are very much allowed to if you want to, like, discuss the lore with us. But if you want to just chill...
Yeah, especially since I might have to duck out for a few minutes to feed the dogs, but I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
I'm not leaving right this second. but like in a few minutes I will have to.
Alright, tell me when you leave, but, what's it called? I will continue to probably, like, yap a little bit while you're gone.
It's perfectly fine.
It's okay, you could just chill in the chat and, like, lurk and listen to us.
Lurk, listen to our insanity.
One thing is, with Ada, it has been shown repeatedly that her main, like, concern is that she is able to help Emil and guide him in order for him to, like, get to be able to live a happy and quote-unquote normal life. Now, of course, people can debate whether or not, like, this is in of itself, like, I guess, like, her being too controlling, her choosing what is a normal life for him, and then pushing him towards that. Who knows? But, that's his own debate.
Society was already gonna do that to him anyways.
Yay! Yay? But, relatively, recent, yeah, it is a grayish area. A relatively recent, Christmas event where both Ada and Emil showed up, with, I think it was Burke and, like, Bon as the main characters. Ada was continuously trying to push him in order for him to enjoy the Christmas event. She was like, oh my god, look, they're doing magic, don't you want to see the magic of Christmas? Don't you want to enjoy the event? And then Emil was kind of like, as long as you're happy, Ada, that's all that matters to me. And then she'd be like, whoa, look at this old man, he's doing magic! Whoa, isn't that impressive? And then Emil's like...
They had two different priorities with that event.
Emil was kind of like, you know what? I think it's impressive because you say it's impressive. and that was kind of the event. Like, Emil was, like, Ada was very much trying to push Emil to, like, interact with people and, like, experience, like, happy things and stuff like that.
She was trying to get him to socialize, and he's like, I just want wife to have fun. I just want her to enjoy herself, and I'm just here to help with that.
Oh my god, he's so mean. I love him.
She's like, okay, I need to get my husband some friends. I need him to get out and socialize and get some social skills.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I just want to make her happy. I just want her to enjoy herself out here.
Yeah, Emil was very obedient. And that's his own kind of, like, interesting talk. But also, this, like, Truth and Inference isn't very canon to the main story and their personalities, because, they have to take a lot of creative...
these are entirely separate universes. In fact, they will often reuse the same characters for different, like, characters in Truth and Universe.
Yeah.
Truth and Inference. Y'all know what I mean.
Yeah, but for the most part, they still choose the characters, and there is similarities between the characters. So I feel like it's free game to use it as a discussion point, but not necessarily as a canon story point, if that makes sense.
It is very difficult for anything like skin related to use it as canon information because each skin line is its own separate universe. The characters may share the same names and similar personalities traits, but these are still entirely different universes.
Yeah, so of course, like, there's parts that we could be like, maybe it's not super canon, but I feel like the skins that the characters are assigned to and what storylines this characters in those essence go through, even if it's not like let's say, I don't know, of course Frederick does not fight an actual dragon or anything like that, but the
man does not.
But some of the things that are said within the essence storyline and, like, the skin descriptions, it can give insights into the characters because they do still choose to make the story that way and choose to give these characters the skins that they were given for a reason. So, with that said, with the relatively recent one with Astrologer, the something with the stars, anyways, Tracing Light, and I think it was Everlasting Dream. This one is a bit of a weird one because it is a continuation of a different Truth and Inference story, which is like the Castle of Zenida, which I haven't seen, unfortunately. I haven't seen. But with that one, you also see Ada is trying to help Emil with his issues with his amnesia, and she is pushing him to like, well, she's not really pushing him to socialize, but she is trying to get him to be like more open and like, I guess experiment a little bit just so they can figure out what works for him. Similar to, I guess, how real Ada is trying to get him to like experience different things and open up a little bit just so they could figure out like what to do with him and stuff like that. I think it was said in the 10 days event that they had at the very end, one of the letters. Actually, this might be a birthday letter. I don't remember. I'm sorry, I'm kind of just like all over the place. But one of the letters, Ada does tell encourages Emil to talk to the children in the village, and she does encourage him to like learn how to read with them and learn how to socialize with them. So wait, I kind of forgot what my main point was. Anyways, I think the main point is Ada does love him and does want him to have a happy life, and wants to push him towards being somewhat more independent from her so he can live that happy life and possibly leave her if he so chooses. He's not going to choose that.
No, that man physically will never be able to. He will never bring himself to do that. Because that's just not who he is.
This is a fun fact, but if you have the portrait from that has what was it called? It was okay. So I know it's Everlasting Night, which is so confusing because Ada has two everlasting skins. But anyway, Everlasting Night and Luminary. I think the Luminary portrait, the description is something like, what kind of goddess blessed me in order to have her fall in love with me? Something like that. And I think it was kind of like, a lot of people are like pointing out like, oh, it kind of shows that Emil, it like thinks that Ada falling in love with him is sort of like out of this world kind of thing. Like, she's way out of his league. And to be fair, I will have to agree with him on that. She is pretty out of his league. But
it kind of is. We're sorry, Emil. Sorry, buddy.
One person has several degrees, and it comes from a rich family, has a lot going on, talents, beauty, things like that, and then it's this guy. He doesn't even have shoes. Emil, though, he is much more intelligent than people give him credit for. Like, a lot of people, like, I guess overlook him. And it makes sense. You don't have shoes either, shaking my head. Excuse you? I have plenty of shoes. Give me a second. I'm sure I have shoes somewhere. Change background.
I have one pair of shoes. And it's not because I don't want more shoes. But it's because I'm broke.
Damn it, that's the PNG tuber. You know what? I guess, we'll ignore that. We don't need to look at that. The audacity.
We saw everything.
There is no everything.
We saw everything.
With Emil, he is a lot more intelligent than people give him credit for. I think it was somewhat hinted in the event for the 10 days event as well, that he was the one who escaped the asylum. Ada helped him, of course, and she was the getaway driver, but like the hooks that Emil uses within the actual gameplay. Like he made it himself or something like that. He also made the rings for Ada, and he was the one who sort of took initiative to say like, hey, I like you and I like you treat me well, so I want to be with you. And that was the push for Ada to leave the life that she was living and what also wasn't really enjoying, and sort of find a new future with Emil where they could potentially be happy.
Exactly, and puppies are calling me, so I will be back.
Hey! I hope what I'm saying makes sense, but Emil, like, people kind of sort of, I guess, infantilize Emil as well, which is a bit of, I think that's, like, the whole point of Game Zero, to be honest. Yeah, Emil did make the hooks and the rings himself. Yeah, exactly. He used the hooks to escape from the asylum as well, from what I remember. Like, a lot of people within the fandom somewhat infantilize Emil, and I don't think the game does it itself, actually. The game, if anything, they kind of treat him like a monster. They're like, oh god, this giant, scary, big man who does things like be awkward, gross, creepy. Like he's treated like a dog a lot, which makes sense. That's sort of his whole backstory and theming. He is themed around dogs. But he is a lot smarter and like more thoughtful than people give him credit for, and it's just that he isn't really able to express himself that well due to the way he grew up and not being able to like properly socialize with people and learn things. But yeah, I think a lot of people don't give Emil enough credit for like how smart he is and how much initiative he does take within the relationship. Like, Ada does have a lot of power within the relationship, but Emil chose to be in the relationship, and he was the one who pushed for things to, like, go the way it does. Like, after they get into the relationship, Ada is the one who takes much more control and, like, sort of guides him a lot. But that's more so because she's trying to teach him how to be, like, a quote-unquote normal person. And, you know, that... I don't really know what else to say about their relationship. Like, Emil is also self-conscious, self-aware of the fact that Ada does have a lot more going on compared to him, and that he is, without Ada, he would probably be dead or in a worse situation and constantly, like, drugged. So he is very grateful to her, and he does feel like she's way out of his league, like a doctor, and then he's basically just a hobo, things like that. I do remember one of the deductions, if I remember correctly. It was either a deduction or like some kind of quote from the event. I don't know. Like, where some of these things are from is a bit messy for me. But I do remember, like, he basically said, no matter what happens, I'm going to, like, dedicate my life to her. I'll listen to everything she says. I'll do whatever I can for her. I swear to God, that was one of his deductions, actually. Because I remember I talked about this with someone. But that was months ago. God damn it. I wonder if it would be easier to go to their Twitter and ask. I'll find it. I'll find it eventually. Scroll. You know what? It's not worth it. It's too far. Actually, no. It's not gonna. It's gonna be way too much. Yeah, that's not worth it. Alright, but yeah, that's pretty much all the characters. We do also have Roy, but Roy doesn't really have any existence right now, and that's because he's more so supposed to be a mysterious character, so Yeah, it makes sense. He's not going to really have that much lore right now. We have little hints of him in Ashes of Memory with the signature book and Roykov being like repeated in it, I think. Or was it that? Or was it Bro, my memory is so shit. I'm mixing everything up. I'm so sorry. But right now Roy doesn't really have much of an actual, I guess, existence, so I don't really know what to discuss with him. Like the main discussion that we did have with him is whether or not what's it called? Like how much of Roy and Orpheus exists within Game Zero, like who is who in each of the events, because they kind of switch around a lot, but like Roy was supposed to be the main one in the game if I remember correctly. Anyways, I don't really have much else to talk about with the characters, so that's kind of the initial discussion that for I guess the game. That's kind of like with what we already know and not I guess looking more deeply into it. So part 2, let's do research about the game. I did write down in like the Discord, but also on like a little sticky note, what the order of like what we should do be. But the thing is, I don't really know the order of the letters, right? So the deductions and birthday letters 100% are the top ways and most canon ways to learn about the characters. Because with things like the accessories, with things like the costumes, with things like, you know, the portraits, the frames, if it's like, even if like they give insights into the characters, we don't know if it's a AU of the character, and then if it is, then it's a bit more difficult to say how canon it is and how much we're allowed to really take away from it. But I think all of it should be considered, because at the very least, even if it's not like 100% canon, like for example, we know for a fact that Emil is not you know, he's not a natural spirit that lives in a lake, right? But with the story of the essence, why does Emil act that way? Why was he chosen to play that role within the story? And like, you know, what the skin description says, it can still give us a bit of insight, right? So we're still gonna look at that. And then, you know, afterwards we'll have to look through all the events, like any events they show up in. 10 days before they escape one. I don't even know if it was 10 days. It might have been 8 days. I don't remember the exact number. That one is pretty much canon, so we do need to look at that one. That one is pretty important to the story. The letters that came afterwards is also important. Certain things like Valentine's Day's events, New Year events, anniversary events, anything like that. If the characters show up and they just say hi to you, that could be important. We have to look at it a little bit and see what exactly they say and what exactly they do. Like, of course, what happens in them isn't exactly canon. Emil's shaking hands with Joseph and Joseph being like, what a weird ass motherfucker. Like, that's obviously not canon to the actual game, but how the characters act and how the characters talk, why they do certain things can give insights into the characters. Yeah. So, I'm blabbing right now because I don't want to start reading anything until it has to come back. So anyways, I hope all of that makes sense. You know, hello from the future, I guess, or hello from the past. I guess it would be better to say that, yeah. Hello from the past. I hope that, like, this is like an hour in. There was a good 30 minutes of preamble, though, so either 30 minutes or like maybe 20 minutes. So I'll have to like timestamp this for Tom because he does want to watch the stream afterwards. I hope all of this makes sense and is not too like rambly or awkward and all over the place. I am really scared that, like, because of the way I stutter a lot and I do repeat phrases and sort of pause kind of like that, I'm scared it comes off as awkward and then it makes the stream a bit awkward. If possible, I would like to edit down everything eventually or make an actual like scripted video after all the research stuff. Like this, I think I put in the title that this is part 1, and that's because I don't believe we're going to get through everything. Like, even if we read all the deductions and birthday letters, I don't think we're going to be able to cover all the costumes and discuss, okay, do we think this is canon? Do we think this is not canon? Things like that. I don't think we're going to be able to get to all the events. And I also don't know, like, I haven't even figured out which events they all showed up in and which one's going to be important. You know, another thing that's going to be important to talk about is 𝑘𝑜𝑎. Because I forgot about that. That's an event that I didn't really consider. How important is 𝑘𝑜𝑎 to the actual story? Because everything that happens there, you know, is also an alternate universe. It's an alternate universe like Truth and Inference. So we have to treat Truth and Inference and, like, I guess 𝑘𝑜𝑎 in a similar fashion. Whereas, like, okay, so they're not the same characters, and their lives are completely different, and they're probably different people, but maybe there's hints of who they are within the characters, you know? And I will make it explicitly clear, just because the stories are AUs does not mean I'm going to treat it as non-canon. But anything that is not within the game, or is not mentioned within the game, I'm going to disregard. So, for example, let's say with Game 5, there's like a commissioned story for IDV that is somewhat official, because it was like paid to be written for IDV, where Vera, or I guess Chloe, she says something like, Chloe would never love a man or something like that. And because of that, for the fandom and also like pretty much people who play the game, like they treat like Chloe as like how do I describe it? Like, I guess I'll just say it's because like Chloe is canonically lesbian, right? But because it doesn't appear in the game, like, I know about the information, right? I'm already aware of the information, so I can say, like, oh yeah, I know about it, and I can, like, acknowledge, yeah, she is canonically lesbian. But let's say there's a commissioned story out there where Emil says that he absolutely despises and hates eating spaghetti, and, like, somehow that's important to the lore. I don't know. If I don't find it, or I don't know about it, that might as well just not be canon, and it's not going to be something I explicitly go out of my way to look for. Just like I'm mostly going to be focused on things that show up in the game, okay? If there's a tweet, there's a tweet out there where Edgar complains about the fact that Runaway is all blue when his favorite color is red, and he doesn't even like blue that much. If there's a tweet of Emil being like, hey, I really hate spruce trees. If I don't find someone who like sends me the actual tweet from the official account, if I don't have any sources, that doesn't count. It doesn't exist. And like, sure, I could go to like IDV wiki or whatever, right? I'd rather not use the wiki as a resource because it is a bit wonky and messy with the lore, and that makes sense. The IDV's lore is always wonky and messy, but I think like it's always under construction, right? So there are going to be mistakes. Anyone can edit it, so sometimes their own biases like might come in when like writing for the IDV wiki and stuff like that. Blah 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 blah. I don't know. I think it's a good enough. Wait, was it Yoshi? I gotta apologize. My back is acting up real bad, and I'm not going to be able to continue. I'm so sorry. You know, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. That might make things a little bit easier because I do need to edit things, or maybe not edit things. At least timestamp things for Tom. So I guess this could be like a really long post-amble? Is that a word? Yeah. Make sure you rest and make sure you take care of yourself. Taking care of yourself is more important than streams, okay? So that's first thing first. Worry about yourself before you worry about the stream. But yeah, that does mean the stream will probably end around here. Anyways, that was a probably really long tangent. I'm really sorry about that. But yeah, I guess at the very least, next stream we do know what we're going to do with how we talk about the lore, and I will try to do that probably, today is maybe next Sunday, I'll do something like that again. I want to keep it to a weekend slot, because this, I'm trying to think about like how I do these streams, because I do want to keep the weekend slots to maybe things like talking and like random events and like continuous games and stuff like that. And IDV would have probably taken up the weekend slot, so I think IDV lore talking streams make sense to take up a weekend slot, so I will probably do this again on Sunday. And hopefully sometime this week I will stream more Zato. Maybe tomorrow. I have no like guarantees on that, but at this, yeah, I don't know about tomorrow. Tomorrow might be difficult. Anyways, I think what I'm going to try to do is from now on I'm going to try to stream at 5 p.m. for my time, and I might try to, we'll see how long that lasts. I might have to push it for later depending on the day, because like sometimes I get off of work really late. Like there are times I get off of work at like 11 p.m. and that's not going to be very feasible. So we'll see how things go. I will try to schedule things and work around things. But anyways, that's going to be end of the stream. Next next stream we do for this, we'll read the deductions and birthday letters, and try to discuss all of that and talk about that, and then hopefully we'll eventually get to talking about the costumes and the events and debating how canon they are, because that'll be fun. We could even do a tier list of that's super canon, and no, we throw that into the trash kind of thing. Because there's actually I will say I do want to consider the events. I'm not gonna just immediately throw them out and disregard them, because I don't like people who are like, oh yes, this is in the game and they use this character for the event and this storyline, but it's not canon because it's not actually part of the main game. Like I don't like that, because that means most of the game is just non-canon BS, and that doesn't seem fun, you know. Sorry for the long rambles. Ending. Yeah, I'm gonna shut up now.